here's Brody Brazil.
You know, whether it comes to sports or something else from everyday life, whenever I see a single quote about a single topic, there's two things that immediately come to mind. Number one, I don't want to take it out of context because you never know what the question was or what the body language was for a response. If it's just text and I can't see the person actually responding to it, I definitely don't want to make it something that it isn't. And as part of that too, I also don't want to overreact. It's just one quote, it's just one time, and maybe that's it. But in the case of MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred, he has now made multiple quotes on a single topic, and each time, it's come off as a bad look. He was asked about dual markets, two teams playing in a close proximity, and twice now, over the last several years, he has made some comments that to teams and their fans might be borderline offensive, definitely out of touch, and not showing a lot of compassion for teams and their fan bases and what they might be going through. First off, let's clarify dual markets. You're aware of this, right? Two teams playing in a close region. And technically the Orioles and Nationals might be in different markets, Baltimore and DC, but for the sake of this conversation, we'll say that is a dual market situation. The ballparks are about, 40 miles apart. Much closer in New York. The Mets and Yankees have always, in my lifetime, been in New York. It used to be a three-team market, but a dual market now. Obviously, in Chicago, you've got the north side and the south side between the Cubs and White Sox. You've got the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you've got the Anaheim, but call them the Los Angeles Angels of Orange County down in Southern California. The Padres are close by, but San Diego definitely separate from the Los Angeles region. And then here in the Bay Area, this is a dual market no longer. Yeah, the A's in Sacramento, that is totally a different market from the Bay Area, about a 90-minute drive away. But it used to be the Oakland Athletics and the San Francisco Giants and their ballparks separated by less than 10 miles as the crow flies. So this was very much one of Major League Baseball's closest dual markets. The teams and their stadiums physically close together, and it splits the region in terms of a fan base. You've got A's fans, you've got Giants fans, but when the A's departed, and as part of that process, Commissioner Manfred was asked, is Major League Baseball kind of abandoning Oakland and Oakland fans? And he gave this quote back in February of 2024, which really stuck out among the A's fan base, didn't go over well, as you can imagine. Let me just read it, then we'll react to it. Quote, "First of all, we do have a Major League team in the Bay Area. It's not like there is not an available option. The Giants obviously still play there." End quote. Now, this was in the midst of the A's figuring out Las Vegas, but also figuring out a temporary home. Remember, February 2024, Sacramento was not even assured as their temporary home for several seasons as a bridge to maybe Las Vegas or whatever. But the point was, the A's at this point were largely committing to probably playing somewhere else. And baseball's commissioner was already saying, hey, fans, it's not like we don't have another product here for you to enjoy. So it's very simple. Just change your allegiance. And to so many A's fans, that doesn't sit well. Now, let me be clear. I also understand that some baseball fans are quite casual. Here in the Bay Area, there are Giants and A's fans, and they just love baseball. They're the ones that wear the split caps. I don't know if that exists in the New York market. I definitely don't think that exists in the Chicago market. I've never seen a Cubs White Sox hat, but it was kind of just a very weird thing to say, even here in the Bay Area. Like, it didn't fly well here. Imagine if this was said about Chicago or New York, for example, or even Los Angeles. I don't know that this would have gone well. So he said this once, and you're thinking, okay, that's not a very favorable opinion on how to feel about dual markets and potentially one team going away or having dual markets. And you know what? The fandom doesn't matter. You're all just customers of Major League Baseball anyway. He kind of doubled down on this very same sentiment just last week. Here in April of 2025, the topic of how expensive Dodgers tickets are came up, and the commissioner responded to this by saying, quote, well, one of the leaders in terms of thinking about affordability has been the other Los Angeles team, end quote. Now, to be fair, when I brought up the Giants in the last quote, this is not about the Giants' existence or their continued existence. And quite honestly, this is not necessarily about the Dodgers' tickets becoming very expensive or what the Angels are putting on the field, but it's directed at the fans and saying, well, if you can't afford Dodger tickets, you just go to Angels games. But I know what you already are thinking. There's a couple big reasons why this is so out of touch. This should never have been said. This does not fly. And unfortunately, the last quote, in combination with this quote, makes this one even worse, because essentially the commissioner has doubled down on this feeling that, if there's two teams in an area, it really doesn't matter, like, if you're fans of one or the other. And it's very interchangeable, in his opinion. He just doesn't get it. Now, I wonder, is this because both markets are California markets that he's commenting on, because he's an East Coast guy and he thinks that it doesn't matter out here on the West Coast? There's a lot of things to think about this. And normally I have 1 page of takeaways. Oh no, I've got 3 pages of takeaways here. Beginning with number 1, the Dodgers are charging more because they're on a totally different level than the Angels are right now. The Angels and Dodgers are operating worlds apart. They are not the same product. There's a reason the Dodgers can, and I guess unfortunately are, charging more for fans to go to games. It's like the cheapest ticket is well above $30, $40, I hear these days. But it's not the same product. Look who the Dodgers are putting on the field. And I realize the Angels have had a decent start to this year, and they still have Mike Trout. But this is just like how the A's and Giants were for the last handful of years. The Giants were sprinting, and the A's were sauntering. And the Giants have a beautiful ballpark that they built and maintained and paid for themselves, and the A's didn't want to put a dime into the Oakland Coliseum, and didn't really want to commit to anything else brand new that they would have to help pay for in Oakland. So the point is, of course something costs more and something's cheaper, but that doesn't mean if you're a fan that you can just, instantly switch. This is a situation under baseball's control that they're not taking care of, and now they're blaming the fans. Well, why don't you just go like the other team then? But also this, and geographically, if you're from LA, you know this. In terms of distance, these two ballparks are about 30 miles apart, but if you actually do the drive, most times it's at least an hour to get from Dodger Stadium to Angel Stadium. So who's really going to live around Chavez Ravine and say, you know what, I think I'm going to go to the Angels game tonight instead, spend an extra 2.5 hours on the road just to get there and back? That's not practical. Again, very out of touch to make these type of comments. And if fans can just switch teams like this is kind of a big one here. Why promote the Subway Series in New York? Why promote the Freeway Series in Los Angeles? Why make a big deal of the Bay Bridge Series back when it existed here in Northern California? Why promote geographical rivalries if, you can just be a fan of one side or the other, and it's not like there's not another Major League Baseball team. If one leaves, or if one team has too expensive tickets, you can go to the other one. It's fine. Yeah, but what if you're a hardcore Dodger fan? What does that mean? Just go to Angels games? It's not that simple. Takeaway page number 2. I can't believe that baseball's top figure would even suggest something like this. And you would think that early last year, more than a year ago, February of 24, when he made that original comment, there was some kickback. There was some negative response. You would think that would have got back to him or somebody on his team to say, you know what? Maybe on that rhetoric, let's tone down a little bit. Let's not repeat that one again. But here he is again saying it doesn't really matter. You just go find another Major League Baseball game in a dual market. They're interchangeable. And in my opinion, with the White Sox where they are right now, struggling mightily on the field, questions about ownership and keeping the team or selling the team, and them wanting a brand new stadium, and them wanting $1 billion of public subsidy from the state of Illinois, this kind of paints a scary outlook for the White Sox and their fans. I've made a video on this before. People in Chicago didn't like it. They didn't want to hear about it. And no, I really don't think that the White Sox would ever leave Chicago, just like the Bay Area that is well big enough of a market to support and sustain two teams. But you're going to go through the drama of the White Sox now saying, well, maybe we will go to Nashville. Maybe we will explore Austin. And you're going to have the commissioner backing it up by saying, well, if you're in Chicago, the Cubs still exist. Wrigley Field's not going anywhere. Do you think White Sox fans are going to like hearing that quote? Because it's going to fall in line with what he's already said. And as part of that, why in these dual markets is there always a big brother and a little brother team? Why is there always an other team? that exists in these markets. I kind of feel like in DC and Baltimore, that's the only one because, well, the Nats moved there and it hasn't been around long enough, and the Orioles are technically a small market team, and the Nats are not necessarily a big market team. But the point is, in New York, it's clearly the Yankees, number one, and then the Mets. And in Chicago, it's clearly the Cubs, and then the White Sox are number two. In Los Angeles, Dodgers number one, Angels number two. In the Bay Area, Giants number one. The Oakland A's have always been second fiddle. They were always second fiddle, even when they were the world champions. Even when, and I shouldn't say always, 1989, the roles might have been reversed, but it was at least competitive. But in the last 15 years, as the A's again started to speed walk and the Giants started to sprint, there was a clear number one and number two in this market. But why would baseball want that? Don't you want competing products to go hard at each other and compete with each other and have similar resources and try and sustain against each other? Competition breeds success, just like two players on a really good baseball team. And so here's my last page of takeaways. Who is representing the fans in all of this, right? Like Major League Baseball and Commissioner Rob Manfred, in his comments here, he's clearly backing the teams and their owners. Now, that's what he does. That's part of his job assignment. I'm not saying that he's doing the wrong thing by that, but that's kind of the only thing that he's working towards and working for are baseball teams and its owners. Obviously, the players are represented by MLBPA, the Players Association, thousands of players across Major League Baseball, even more at the minor league level. But yeah, the Players Association represents the players. It takes a triangle of things to make Major League Baseball work. Teams and owners, that's number one. Players is number two. And the third piece of that triangle are the fans. But who's representing the fans here? Tickets are too expensive. The commissioner says, just go to one of our other teams. No big deal. Who's representing the fans? So are fans not supposed to show up? Is that how they protest with their money? And that's how they make their voice heard? And then fans get blamed because they don't show up and attendance is bad. My point is there is nobody here in this trifecta to actually represent the fans. So when Rob Manfred said what he said last year, I thought that was bad enough. Now that he's doubled down on it here in 2025 and just saying, hey, Dodger fan, too expensive? Go watch Ron Washington's team over there in Orange County. I just feel like there are so many bad takeaways from this. It's hard to believe he's doubled down on it. That's clearly, truly how he feels. There's not like a mistake. There's not a lost in interpretation situation here. And I think this ought to be brought up to him and maybe want to have a different position on this moving forward. Otherwise, teams in dual markets, watch out because it really is an number one team, and the second team, it just doesn't really matter. It's just there kind of as a placeholder. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Thumbs up also down there. That helps me, this video, and this channel. And one more thing, if you would, go down there and hit that subscribe button like right now. That way I can definitely see you back here next time.